Hi, and welcome to Nathan Reads the Bible. I am your host, Nathan, and I will be reading the Bible today. I will be reading from Exodus, chapters 10 through 15. That's where we left off, and that's where I'm going to read from. Big news in my life. You know how I was talking about my car having an issue with the fuel pressure, the check engine light comes on the other day. Well, it had to sit for a couple of days because there wasn't somebody in the shop who could work on my specific vehicle. And so during the course of those 2 days and a lot of prayer over that vehicle, somehow this morning when checking in with the producer, this morning when I turned it on to take it to its appointment, there was no check engine light on. Took it to its appointment, they did a diagnostic on it, they said we can't even find any codes, so if I can't find any codes or anything, I don't have anything to work on here. So somehow it figured itself out. And I think I know how. I think there's somebody upstairs who was looking out for me. That's the way I feel about it, and that's the way I'm going to feel about it. Because my vehicle, when the lights come on, they do not go off. They do not go off until the issue is fixed. My tire pressure lights will come on and come on and come on forever. The last time my check engine light was on, it was on. It did not go off until I fixed the problem. So I don't know what happened, but I know it's good. And I praise the Lord for it. And it's the little victories that we need to remember every single day. So that is some good news. And I really, actually, at the beginning when I started this, wanted to start off with some good news every day, and I completely forgot that was another one of my one of my goals for this show was to bring good news, because there's not enough of it. Because if you turn on the news, it's not good news. Good news doesn't sell, apparently. I don't know what goes on over there and makes people decide what they decide. I am not them. But I can tell you this. I'm going to go ahead and read from the Bible now. And so we are in Exodus chapter 10. I've got it marked. Actually, I have 15. Okay. Here we go. Chapter 10. All right. As just a recap, because we stopped at a cliffhanger. And so what is happening is Moses is trying to get the Israelites freed from the Egyptian Pharaoh. He has tried pretty much every plague under the sun up until this point. We have had... It started out with Moses turning it was Aaron's staff, because Aaron is speaking for Moses, because Moses apparently has something to do with his speech, that he has Aaron speak for him. But Aaron's staff became a snake at the beginning, and then Pharaoh's magicians also made their staffs into snakes, but Moses' snake ate all the other snakes. So it's like, who's got the king snake? Moses. Moses had the king snake. Then there was the plague of blood, which made every bit of water on the land be blood. Then we had the plague of frogs. There were frogs falling from the sky like rain. Piles of frogs everywhere. Dead frogs. So you had blood one day, you have dead frogs the next day. You got all kinds of stuff that's really gross in your streets and your water system. Then there was a plague of gnats. And finally, after the plague of gnats, Moses realizes that Pharaoh just still is not getting that the Israelites are God's people. And so from the plague of flies on, From the plague of flies on, people not fire me with this time. Okay, so after the plague of flies, and then there's the plague of livestock, where all the firstborn livestock dies. That's what you refuse to let them go. Continue holding back. The Lord will bring a terrible plague on your livestock in the field, and your houses, your horses and donkeys and camels, and on your cattle and your sheep and your goats. But the Lord will make a distinction between the livestock of Israel and that of Egypt, so that no animal belonging to the Israelites will die. So when he gets to the plague of livestock, the Israelites are separated from the Egyptians to show that God is serious about protecting the Israelites. And still, Pharaoh's heart is hardened. It says it's hardened by the Lord, but after doing a little research into that, it was basically God just allowing his heart to do in a more... His heart was already hard. He was already really strong in his position against letting the Israelites go. So basically, all God did was just kind of not try to press the issue, and it made his heart harder. It was just kind of God letting a man be a man. And so there was the plague on the livestock. Then there was a plague of boils. Then there was a plague of hail, which killed anything that wasn't inside. So once again, the livestock got hit, and anybody that wasn't inside also were dead. So there was a lot of stuff that happened to the Egyptians on account of the Pharaoh not letting the Israelites go. And so here we are in chapter 10. They have finally gotten to the plague of locusts. And that's where I will begin reading. Exodus chapter 10, verse 1. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go to Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his officials, so that I may perform these miraculous signs of mine among them, that you may tell your children and grandchildren how I dealt harshly with the Egyptians and how I performed my signs among them, and that you may know that I am the Lord." So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said to him, "This is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. How long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go so that they may worship me. If you refuse to let them go, I will bring locusts into your country tomorrow. They will cover the face of the ground so that it cannot be seen. They will devour what little you have left after the hail, including every tree that is growing in your fields. They will fill your houses and those of all your officials and all the Egyptians, something neither your fathers nor your forefathers have ever seen from the day they settled this land until now." Then Moses turned and left Pharaoh. Pharaoh's officials said to him, "How long will this man be a snare to us? Let the people go, so that they may worship the Lord their God. Do you not realize that Egypt is ruined?" So Pharaoh's people are telling him, "Dude, you have ruined Egypt. Like, why do you keep holding on to this?" And Moses and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh. "Go worship the Lord your God," he said, "but just who will be going?" Moses answered, "We will go with our young and our old, with our sons and our daughters, with our flocks and herds, because we are to celebrate a festival to the Lord." Pharaoh said, "The Lord be with you. If I let you go along with your women and children, clearly you are bent on evil. No, have only the men go and worship the Lord, since that's what you have been asking for." Then Moses and Aaron were driven out of Pharaoh's presence. And the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over Egypt so that locusts will swarm over the land and devour everything growing in the fields, everything left by the hail." So Moses stretched out his staff over Egypt, and the Lord made an east wind blow across the land all that day and all that night. By morning the wind had brought the locusts. They invaded all Egypt and settled down in every area of the country in great numbers. Never before had there been such a plague of locusts, nor will there ever be again. They covered all the ground until it was black. They devoured all that was left after the hail, everything growing in the fields, and the fruit on the trees. Nothing green remained on tree or plant in all the land of Egypt. Pharaoh quickly summoned Moses and Aaron and said, I have sinned against the Lord your God and against you. Now forgive my sin once more and pray to the Lord your God to take this deadly plague away from me. Moses then left Pharaoh and prayed to the Lord. And the Lord changed the wind to a very strong west wind, which caught up to the locusts and carried them into the Red Sea. Not a locust was left anywhere in Egypt, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let the Israelites go. Once again. So next comes the plague of darkness. Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand toward the sky so that the darkness will spread over Egypt, darkness that can be felt. I want to stop at the darkness that can be felt situation, and I want to talk about, and I want to ask if any of you out there have ever been in a place where the darkness is so thick, either in a very deep woods late at night or at night period, or in a place where there is no light. When you get to a place like that, it's from when you're used to being in our light and having artificial light your way at night and stuff like that. Man, when a darkness comes over you like that, it's crazy. When I went to Afghanistan, we practiced light discipline over there. And so our flashlights on the forward operating base that I was on, at night, our flashlights could only be on red or blue. They had these little things that you would put up in the flashlight, and it's a lower light. It's a lower light signal. It can't be seen as far. And you would hold that towards the ground, never up towards the sky. It was always towards the ground so you could see what was in front of you. And that was called light discipline. And I remember when I first got there, and I remember that first night, the darkness was just so dark and enveloping. It was spooky. And so when it talks about a darkness you can feel here, like I can feel that. Like I don't understand it fully because I imagine that this darkness was even worse because it was during the daytime as well. So here we go. I'll go on to finish what this plague was all about. So Moses stretched out his hand toward the sky, and total darkness covered all Egypt for 3 days. No one could see anyone else or leave his place for 3 days, yet all the Israelites had light in the places where they lived. Then Pharaoh summoned Moses and said, go worship the Lord. Even your women and children may go with you. Only leave your flocks and herds behind. But Moses said, you must allow us to have sacrifices and burnt offerings to present to the Lord our God. Our livestock too must go with us. Not a hoof is to be left behind. We have to use some of them in worshiping the Lord our God. And until we get there, we will not know what we are to use to worship the Lord. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he was not willing to let them go. Pharaoh said to Moses, get out of my sight. Make sure you do not appear before me again. The day you see my face, you will die. Just as you say, Moses replied, I will never appear before you again. And then came the plague on the firstborn. Now we're in chapter 11. Oh, there go my baptism papers. I keep putting them in different places and they keep falling no matter what I do. Here, I'll just put them in the middle. Maybe it'll stay good there. Okay, here we go, 11. Now the Lord had said to Moses, I will bring one more plague on Pharaoh and on Egypt, and after that he will let you go from here. And when he does, he will drive you out completely. Tell the people that men and women alike are to ask their neighbors for articles of silver and gold. The Lord made the Egyptians favorably disposed toward the people, and Moses himself was highly regarded in Egypt by Pharaoh's officials and by the people. So Moses said, "This is what the Lord says, about midnight I will go throughout Egypt. Every firstborn son in Egypt will die, from the firstborn son of Pharaoh who sits on the throne to the firstborn son of the slave girl who is at her handmill, and all the firstborn of the cattle as well. There will be loud wailing throughout Egypt, worse than there has ever been or ever will be again. But among the Israelites not a dog will bark at any man or animal. Then you will know that the Lord makes a distinction between Egypt and Israel. All these officials of yours will come to me, bowing down before me and saying, 'Go, you and all the people who follow you.' After that I will leave." Then Moses, hot with anger, left Pharaoh. The Lord had said to Moses, "Pharaoh will refuse to listen to you, so that my wonders may be multiplied in Egypt." Moses and Aaron performed all these wonders before Pharaoh, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let the Israelites go out of his country. The Passover, chapter 12. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in Egypt, "This month is to be for you the first month of your year. Tell the whole community of Israel that on the 10th day of this month each man is to take a lamb for his family, one for each household. If any household is too small for a whole lamb, they must share one with their nearest neighbor. Having taken into account the number of people there are, you are to determine the amount of lamb needed in accordance with what each person will eat. The animals you choose must be year-old males without defect, and you may take them from the sheep or the goats. Take care of them until the 14th day of the month, when all the people of the community of Israel must slaughter them at twilight. Then they are to take some of the blood and put it on the sides and tops of the door frames of the houses where they eat the lambs. The same night they are to eat the meat roasted over the fire, along with bitter herbs and bread made without yeast. Do not eat the meat raw or cooked in water, but roast it over the fire, head, legs, and inner parts. Do not leave any of it until the morning. If some is left till morning, you must burn it. This is how you are to eat it: with your cloak tucked into your belt, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. Eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. On the same night I will pass through Egypt and strike down every firstborn, both men and animals, and I will bring judgment on all the gods of Egypt, and I am the Lord. The blood will be a sign for you on the houses where you are, and when I see the blood I will pass over you. No destructive plague will touch you when I strike Egypt. This is a day you are to commemorate. For the generations to come you shall celebrate it as a festival to the Lord, a lasting ordinance. For 7 days you are to eat bread made without yeast. On the first day remove the yeast from your houses, for whoever eats anything with yeast in it from the first day through the 7th must be cut off from Israel. On the first day hold a sacred assembly, and another one on the 7th day. Do not work at all on these days except to prepare food for everyone to eat. That is all you may do. Celebrate the feast of unleavened bread, because it was on this very day that I brought your divisions out of Egypt. Celebrate this day as a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. In the first month you are to eat bread made without yeast, from the evening of the 14th day until the evening of the 21st day. For 7 days no yeast is to be found in your houses, and whoever eats anything with yeast in it must be cut off from the community of Israel, whether he is an alien or native born. Eat nothing made with yeast. Wherever you live you must eat unleavened bread. Then Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, "Go at once and select the animals for your families and slaughter the Passover lamb. Take a bunch of hyssop, dip it into the blood in the basin, and put some of the blood on the top of both sides of the door, on the top and on both sides of the door frame. Not one of you shall go out the door of his house until morning. When the Lord goes through the land to strike down the Egyptians, he will see the blood on the top and the sides of the doorframe and will pass over that doorway. And he will not permit the destroyer to enter your houses and strike you down. Okay, now this is something that I am interested in right here. He will not permit the destroyer to enter your houses and strike you down. Who's the destroyer? That's some interesting stuff. So something named the destroyer is what is cruising over Egypt, taking the firstborn. And so I'm going to do some research on what that is, because I want to know. All right? Okay. Obey these instructions as a lasting ordinance for you and your descendants. When you enter the land that the Lord will give you as he promised, observe this ceremony. And when your children ask you, what does this ceremony mean to you? Then tell them, it is the Passover sacrifice to the Lord, who passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt and spared our homes when he struck down the Egyptians. Then the people bowed down and worshipped. The Israelites did just what the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron. At midnight, the Lord struck down all the firstborn in Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on the throne to the firstborn of the prisoner who was in the dungeon, and the firstborn of all the livestock as well. Pharaoh and all his officials and all the Egyptians got up during the night, and there was loud wailing in Egypt, for there was not a house without someone dead. This is getting good. The Exodus. During the night, Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, Up, up, leave my people, you and the Israelites, go worship the Lord as you have requested. Take your flocks and herds as you have said, and go, and also bless me. The Egyptians urged the people to hurry and leave the country, for otherwise, they said, we will all die. So the people took their dough before the yeast was added, and carried it on their shoulders in kneading troughs wrapped in clothing. The Israelites did as Moses instructed and asked the Egyptians for articles of silver and gold and for clothing. The Lord had made the Egyptians favorably disposed toward the people, and they gave them what they asked for. So they plundered the Egyptians. The Israelites journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, where they were about 600,000 men on foot, besides women and children. Many other people went up with them, as well as large droves of livestock, both flocks and herds. With the dough they had brought from Egypt, they baked cakes of unleavened bread. The dough was without yeast because they had been driven out of Egypt and did not have time to prepare food for themselves. Now the length of time the Israelite people lived in Egypt was 430 years. At the end of the 430 years, to the very day, all the Lord's divisions left Egypt, because the Lord kept vigil that night to bring them out of Egypt. On this night, all the Israelites are to keep vigil to honor the Lord for generations to come. Passover restrictions. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, these are the regulations for the Passover. No foreigner is to eat of it. Any slave you have bought may eat of it after you have circumcised him. But a temporary resident and a hired worker may not eat of it. It must be eaten inside one house. Take none of the meat outside the house. Do not break any of the bones. The whole community of Israel must celebrate it. An alien living among you who wants to celebrate the Lord's Passover must have all the males in his household circumcised. Then he may take part like one born in the land. No uncircumcised male may eat of it. The same law applies to the native born and to the alien living among you. All the Israelites did just what the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron. And on that very day the Lord brought the Israelites out of Egypt by their divisions. Oh, gotta check in with the producer. We have lost signal. What is happening? I think we're still recording though. During this dead air. Okay. Okay, good. Everything's still going. The producer's happy. Alright, so here we are. Chapter 13. Consecration of the firstborn. The Lord said to Moses, Consecrate to me every firstborn male. The first offspring of every womb among the Israelites belongs to me, whether man or animal." Then Moses said to the people, "Commemorate this day, the day you came out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery, because the Lord brought you out of it with a mighty hand. Eat nothing containing yeast. Today, in the month of Abib, you are leaving. When the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Hivites, and Jebusites, the land he swore to your forefathers to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, you are to observe this ceremony in this month. For 7 days eat bread made without yeast, and on the seventh day hold a festival to the Lord. Eat unleavened bread during those 7 days. Eat nothing with yeast in it is to be seen among you, nor shall any yeast be seen anywhere within your borders. On that day tell your son, I do this because of what the Lord did for me when I came out of Egypt. This observance will be for you like a sign on your hand and a reminder on your forehead that the law of the Lord is to be on your lips. For the Lord brought you out of Egypt with his mighty hand. You must keep this ordinance at the appointed time, year after year. After the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites and gives it to you as he promised on oath to you and your forefathers, you are to give over to the Lord the first offspring of every womb. All the firstborn males of your livestock belong to the Lord. Redeem with a lamb every firstborn donkey, but if you do not redeem it, break its neck. Redeem every firstborn among your sons. In days to come, when your son asks you, what does this mean? Say to him, with a mighty hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery, when Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go. The Lord killed every firstborn in Egypt, both man and animal. This is why I sacrifice to the Lord the first male offspring of every womb, and redeem each of my firstborn sons. And it will be like a sign on your hand and a symbol on your forehead that the Lord brought us out of Egypt with his mighty hand." Crossing the sea. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them on the road through the Philistine country, though that was shorter. For God said, if they face war, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led the people around by the desert road toward the Red Sea. The Israelites went up out of Egypt armed for battle. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, because Joseph had made the sons of Israel swear an oath. He had said, God will surely come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up with you from this place. After leaving Succoth, they camped at Etham on the edge of the desert. By the day, the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so they could travel by day or night. Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left its place in front of the people. Left its place in front. Oh, okay. So it never went away. It never left its place in front of the people. All right, okay, I get it. Chapter 14, verse 1. Then the Lord said to Moses, tell the Israelites to turn back and encamp near Pi-hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea. They are to encamp by the sea directly opposite Baal-Zephon. Pharaoh will think the Israelites are wandering around the land in confusion, hemmed in by the desert, and I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them. But I will gain glory for myself through Pharaoh and all his army, and the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. So the Israelites did this. When the king of Egypt was told that the people had fled, Pharaoh and his officials changed their mind about them and said, what have we done? We have let the Israelites go and have lost their services. So he had his chariot made ready and took his army with him. He took 600 of the best chariots, along with all the other chariots of Egypt, with officers over all of them. The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, so that he pursued the Israelites who were marching out boldly. The Egyptians, all Pharaoh's horses and chariots and horsemen and troops, pursued the Israelites and overtook them as they camped by the sea near Pi Hahiroth, opposite Baal Zephon. As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up, and there were the Egyptians marching after them. They were terrified, and they cried out to the Lord. They said to Moses, "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, 'Leave us alone. Let us serve the Egyptians'? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert." Moses answered the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to move on. Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians so that they will go in after them, and I will gain glory through Pharaoh and all his army, through his chariots and his horsemen. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I gain glory through Pharaoh, his chariots and his horsemen." Then the angel of God, who had been traveling in front of Israel's army, withdrew and went behind them. The pillar of cloud also moved from in front and stood behind them, coming between the armies of Egypt and Israel. Throughout the night, the cloud brought darkness to one side and light to the other side, so neither went near the other all night long. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land. The waters were divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with a wall of water on their right and their left. Could you imagine that? Walking through that water and seeing like the fish just like swimming around like you're walking through an aquarium? Like that would be nuts. Seriously. All right, okay. Then the Egyptians pursued them, and all Pharaoh's horses and chariots and horsemen followed them into the sea. During the last watch of the night, the Lord looked down from the pillar of fire and cloud at the Egyptian army and threw it into confusion. He made the wheels of their chariots come off so that they had difficulty driving. That'll do it. And the Egyptians said, "Let's get away from the Israelites. The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea so that the waters may flow back over the Egyptians and their chariots and horsemen." Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and at daybreak the sea went back to its place. The Egyptians were fleeing toward it, and the Lord swept them into the sea. The water flowed back and covered the chariots and horsemen. The entire army of Pharaoh that had followed the Israelites into the sea, not one of them survived. But the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground with a wall of water on their right and on their left. The day the Lord saved Israel from the hands of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians lying. That day the Lord saved Israel from the hands of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians lying dead on the shore. And when the Israelites saw the great power the Lord displayed against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord and put their trust in him and in Moses his servant. And that is the end of chapter 14. We will be starting chapter 15 through chapter 20 the next time I read from the Bible, which will probably be tomorrow sometime. I am going to look up what I was talking about. The thing that was killing the firstborn, the destroyer, I believe it was called. I want to figure out what that is. I'm sorry. All that reading made me really thirsty. I'm going to check out what that is, maybe throw up a short with some answers to who this destroyer is, who was floating over Egypt and taking away the firstborn, taking away the firstborn sons, and taking away the firstborn cattle. So that was a big I mean, Egypt paid one dilly of a price for keeping the Israelites for as long as they did. It is insane. I mean, like I read, the Pharaoh's, own henchmen were telling him, this has ruined us. So, I mean, this guy was willing to destroy his country over the slave ownership of the Israelites. That is, I don't know, the epitome of some kind of stupid. Okay, so that's that. That's the reading for the night. Thank you very much for joining and watching and listening. However you do it, whatever time you do it, I appreciate it. Thank you for throwing the likes down there. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. Please remember to hit the subscribe button if you like what I'm doing here. You will get the heads ups on when I put new stuff out, and you can keep up with the Bible, and it's just a good thing. And it helps me with the YouTube people, wherever they may be, that are taking, they're doing the numbers and running the algorithms and all the fun stuff. So, yeah, like and subscribe if you want to. If not, we'll keep going. I'm not going to stop. I've said it a million times. I'm not stopping until I hit the end of Revelations. If I have to read to myself. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and say a prayer and get this thing over with. Dear Lord, thank you once again for allowing me to make this podcast. Thank you for allowing me to deliver the chapters and verses of your word, Lord, to the people out there who want to listen to it. Lord, I pray you will let this audience grow so that more and more people can hear your word, Lord, so that more and more people can get interested like I have in the things that they had let set on their bookshelves for years and walked by and never opened up, Lord. I pray that this might spark an interest in more people, and more people may start reading their Bibles, and maybe just even for the stories, Lord. There's nothing but good stuff in there, and I thank you for it, Lord. I thank you for whatever happened with my vehicle. I praise you, Lord, because you are stronger than everything and anything that this world has. I can't thank you enough. And I thank you that my dog is healing up as good as can possibly be. He's starting to put more weight on that leg, Lord. And we thank you for that. We thank you for giving him strength. Thank you for giving him an appetite, Lord. I love that dog. And once again, I'm going to end my prayer with a prayer for peace. Lord, I pray that you will bring peace to all the places where there is none. That you will bring peace to Africa, that you will bring peace to the Middle East, that you will bring peace to the Ukraine, that you will bring peace to Russia if the Ukraine's throwing bombs over there. I don't know, because I have not been paying attention to the news anymore because I am sick of it, Lord. But I pray that you will work on the hearts of the men that keep these wars going, Lord, that you will soften their hearts. We read about a hardened heart man, and we learned how dangerous they can be tonight, Lord. I pray that you would soften the hearts of the men of this world. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everything, Lord. Thank you for the air we breathe. In your name, amen. All right, that's the show for the night. Have a great tonight, the day, the morning, the evening. I don't know. I don't know what time it is. It could be any time. Whatever time it is. It's a good time to watch. So stay safe, be blessed, and keep things a little dangerous if you have to, for Christ. Just for Christ. All right.